How does someone make billions while the world faces an economic meltdown? For John Paulson, the answer was simple: question the obvious and act on what others ignore. As the housing market soared before the 2008 crisis, Paulson saw its fragile foundation and made one of the boldest financial bets in history. His journey is a testament to the power of independent thinking and meticulous analysis. But how did he recognize the cracks in a seemingly invincible market? And what lessons can we learn from his success? Let's explore the story of a man who turned chaos into opportunity and changed the financial world forever. John Paulson's rise to fame is a testament to how curiosity and determination can shape extraordinary paths. Born into a modest family, Paulson demonstrated an early fascination with the mysteries of economics and market. He wasn't the type to accept surface-level answers. He sought to understand the mechanisms behind success. This intellectual curiosity propelled him to study finance at New York University and later pursue an MBA at Harvard, where his sharp mind stood out. But little did he know, these formative years were only the beginning of a journey that would cement his name in financial history. After completing his studies, Paulson entered the corporate world, where he encountered challenges that would refine his vision. His early roles in consultancy firms and later at Gru's Partners exposed him to the intricate world of investment. Unlike many of his peers, Paulson didn't just observe market trends, he dissected them. Each deal, analysis, or project added layers to his expertise, shaping him into a strategist rather than a mere participant. At this stage, he was already showing signs of the brilliance that would later lead to his groundbreaking achievement. In 1994, John Paulson founded Paulson Co, a hedge fund that would redefine his career. It was not just another financial firm. It was his canvas for innovation. Starting modestly, Paulson focused on delivering consistent returns, often outperforming competitors with his unique blend of analytical rigor and creative problem-solving. Investors were drawn to his ability to spot opportunities that others overlooked. His fund quickly became synonymous with reliability and success, but Paulson wasn't satisfied with mere growth. He sought something transformative. Paulson's approach to investing was meticulous and almost obsessive. He often spent countless hours studying market reports and economic patterns, treating each dataset like a puzzle waiting to be solved. To others, a graph was a mere representation of numbers. To Paulson, it was a story of opportunities and risks, one that needed unraveling. This relentless pursuit of understanding gave him a competitive edge, allowing him to anticipate shifts in the market long before they became apparent to others. While his success grew, Paulson faced his share of risks and uncertainty. The financial markets, by nature, are unpredictable, but he thrived in this environment. His ability to balance caution with boldness became a defining trait. Where others hesitated, he calculated. Where others followed, he led. This blend of prudence and daring would become the hallmark of his career, setting him apart as a thinker and innovator. By the early 2000s, Paulson had already carved out a name for himself in the financial world. Yet, what truly made him unique was his readiness to challenge the status quo. He believed that the most significant opportunities often lay hidden where others feared to look. This conviction would soon lead him to one of the most audacious and profitable bets in Wall Street history, a chapter that was yet to unfold, but would shake the financial world to its core. Little did Paulson know, his relentless quest for understanding and his calculated risk were preparing him for a seismic moment in financial history. As the housing market appeared invincible, Paulson was quietly uncovering its cracks. But that's a story for the next chapter, where vision, strategy, and daring collide in one of the greatest financial moves of all time. In the years leading up to the 2008 financial crisis, the U.S. housing market was viewed as an untouchable pillar of stability. The prevailing belief was simple: home prices would always rise, fueled by a booming economy and increasing demand. This optimism created an air of invincibility around real estate, convincing banks, investors, and homeowners alike that the golden age of housing had no end. But while the world celebrated this foolproof investment, John Paulson saw a dangerous bubble inflating beneath the surface. The rapid growth of the housing market was built on a shaky foundation: subprime mortgages. These high-risk loans were granted to borrowers with questionable credit history, enabling them to purchase homes they couldn't truly afford. On the surface, it seemed like a win-win situation: more homeowners and higher profits for lenders. But behind the scenes, these loans were bundled into complex financial instruments, known as mortgage-backed security, and sold as safe investment. To most, these securities seemed bulletproof. To Paulson, they were a ticking time bomb. What made Paulson's insight extraordinary was his willingness to question the narrative. While others focused on the surface-level number, he dove deeper into the mechanics of the housing market. He analyzed loan data, reviewed the fine print of mortgage contracts, and identified unsettling trends. Borrowers were defaulting at higher rates, banks were lowering their lending standards, and the entire system was becoming overly reliant on unsustainable practice. Paulson realized that this wasn't a thriving market, it was a bubble waiting to burst. But Paulson didn't stop at recognizing the cracks. He began to study the psychology fueling the housing. Lenders were incentivized to prioritize volume over quality, handing out loans with little regard for repayment potential. Borrowers, lured by low interest rates, jumped into the market with overconfidence, believing they could refinance before any trouble hit. It was a classic case of greed overtaking caution, and Paulson was determined to capitalize on the inevitable collapse. His findings weren't immediately welcome. In fact, Paulson's warnings were met with skepticism and even ridicule. The housing market had been a cornerstone of American prosperity for decades. How could it possibly fail? Yet, he persisted, convinced by his meticulous analysis and his understanding of market cycles. He knew that history was full of examples where overconfidence led to disaster, and this time would be no different. To Paulson, the housing bubble was more than just a financial anomaly. It was a cautionary tale of systemic vulnerability. He saw how interconnected the financial world had become, with institutions blindly trusting complex products they barely understood. This insight gave him an edge, allowing him to not only predict the collapse, but also devise a groundbreaking strategy to profit from it. His ability to think independently and act decisively set him apart from the crowd. As the housing market soared to unprecedented heights, Paulson quietly prepared for its downfall. While others celebrated their paper gains, he was positioning himself for one of the boldest financial moves of all time. The stage was set, and the pieces were falling into place for a historic moment in financial history. But how does one actually profit from a market collapse? That's where Paulson's genius would truly shine. John Paulson's strategy to bet against the U.S. housing market wasn't just audacious, it was revolutionary. While the majority of Wall Street remained blind to the risks hidden in subprime mortgages, Paulson saw an unprecedented opportunity. With his firm belief that the housing bubble was unsustainable, he crafted a plan to profit from its inevitable collapse. His weapon of choice: credit default swaps, CDs, a sophisticated financial instrument that acted as insurance against defaults on mortgage-backed security. At the heart of Paulson's success was meticulous preparation. Alongside his team at Paulson Co, he pored over thousands of mortgage documents, identifying patterns of risk and potential failure. He discovered that many of these securities, rated as safe by major credit agencies, were riddled with toxic loans unlikely to be repaid. This deep dive into data revealed a simple truth: the housing market wasn't built on solid ground, it was a house of cards ready to crumble. With this knowledge in hand, Paulson approached major financial institutions to negotiate CDS contracts. In essence, these swaps allowed him to pay a small premium to bet against the performance of mortgage-backed security. If the securities failed, Paulson would reap massive rewards. It was a bold move, one that many in the industry considered unnecessary, even foolish. After all, who would bet against the seemingly indestructible U.S. housing market? As the housing bubble began to deflate, Paulson's thesis started to materialize. Mortgage defaults surged, and the value of mortgage-backed securities plummeted. The institutions that sold Paulson the CDS contracts were now scrambling to cover their losses, while Paulson's position skyrocketed in value. What made his strategy so extraordinary wasn't just the financial gain, but the foresight and conviction it required. While others clung to optimism, Paulson trusted his analysis and acted decisively. By 2007, as the financial crisis unfolded, Paulson Co. had made approximately $15 billion in profit, with $4 billion going directly to Paulson himself. This monumental achievement not only cemented his status as one of Wall Street's most brilliant minds, but also became a case study in contrarian investing. His ability to navigate complexity and stay steadfast in his vision during turbulent times was nothing short of legendary. Yet Paulson's triumph wasn't without controversy. Critics argued that profiting from the collapse of the housing market indirectly meant benefiting from the financial pain of millions of Americans. However, Paulson countered that his actions didn't create the crisis, they merely exposed a broken system. He saw himself as a realist who identified and acted upon opportunities others chose to ignore. In his view, the market was a game of survival, and he had simply played it better. The magnitude of Paulson's success reverberated across Wall Street and beyond. His bet became the subject of countless studies, books, and discussion, inspiring a new generation of investors to challenge conventional thinking. But for Paulson, this was more than a financial win. It was a validation of his belief in rigorous analysis and independent thought. And while his legacy was now solidified, his journey was far from over. As the dust settled, the world began to grapple with the aftermath of the financial crisis. Paulson's actions highlighted the vulnerabilities of the system, sparking debates about ethics, regulation, and the nature of capitalism itself. But how did he navigate the challenges that came with such monumental success? That's where his next chapter unfolds. John Paulson's extraordinary success wasn't just a product of luck or timing, it stemmed from a profound understanding of the financial market. His story is a masterclass in how to navigate the unpredictable nature of these systems. At the core of Paulson's philosophy lies a simple yet powerful idea. Markets are inherently dynamic and cyclical, driven as much by human behavior as by economic fundamentals. Recognizing this allowed him to see what others couldn't and take actions few dared to consider. One of Paulson's key lessons is the value of curiosity and rigorous analysis. While many investors rely on broad trends or conventional wisdom, Paulson dives into the granular detail. During the housing bubble, he didn't just study the broader market, he examined the specific mechanics of mortgage-backed security. By questioning the assumptions others accepted as fact, he uncovered risks and opportunities hidden in plain sight. This relentless pursuit of clarity is a reminder that success often comes to those who look where others won't. Paulson also emphasized the importance of thinking independently. In the years leading up to the 2008 crisis, the consensus was that the housing market was unshakable. Paulson, however, challenged this belief, guided by his analysis rather than popular sentiment. This contrarian mindset allowed him to identify one of the greatest financial opportunities of all time. For modern investor, his story serves as a powerful example of why it's crucial to trust your research, even when it goes against the crowd. Another critical takeaway from Paulson's approach is his balance between patience and decisiveness. He spent years observing the housing market, carefully constructing his strategy before making his move. This patience was paired with swift and bold action when the time came, enabling him to capitalize on the opportunity. It's a lesson in discipline, the ability to wait for the right moment and then act with conviction. Paulson's story also highlights the cyclical nature of market. He understood that booms often lead to busts, and that euphoria is frequently followed by panic. This awareness allowed him to anticipate and prepare for downturns that others dismissed as unlikely. It's a timeless lesson. Markets are driven not just by data but by the emotions and behaviors of participants. Recognizing these patterns is key to navigating them successfully. Another of Paulson's insights is the importance of adaptability. Financial markets are unpredictable, and even the most well-laid plans can face unexpected challenges. Paulson's flexibility, his ability to adjust his positions and strategies as new information emerged, was a significant factor in his success. For anyone navigating uncertainty, this adaptability is an essential skill, one that extends beyond finance into every area of life. Finally, Paulson's journey underscores the value of continuous learning. Even after his historic bet against the housing market, he remained committed to studying the intricacies of the economy and market. For Paulson, knowledge wasn't a destination but a lifelong pursuit. He serves as a reminder that in a constantly changing world, staying informed and curious is the ultimate competitive advantage. Paulson's lessons offer a blueprint for approaching financial markets with intelligence and confidence. But his story also opens the door to deeper questions about the ethics and responsibilities of those who wield such influence. As we delve further into his legacy, we must consider not just the brilliance of his strategy, but their broader implications for the world of finance. While John Paulson's bet against the housing market in 2008 is widely regarded as one of the most brilliant financial moves in history, it was not without its fair share of controversy. The very nature of his success, profiting from a market collapse that caused widespread suffering, led to harsh criticism. Paulson became a symbol of the darker side of capitalism, someone who capitalized on disaster rather than contributing to solutions. But was his success truly exploitative, or was it simply a matter of being astute enough to recognize an opportunity others overlooked? One of the main points of contention revolves around the use of credit default swaps (CD). These financial instruments allowed Paulson to bet against the mortgage-backed securities market, essentially profiting from their collapse. To many, the sheer complexity and opacity of these products seemed like an unfair advantage for those with the expertise to navigate them. Critics argued that Paulson's success came at the expense of unsuspecting homeowners and investors, raising ethical questions about the morality of profiting from others' losses. Paulson, however, defended his strategy as a response to market conditions rather than the cause of them. He argued that the housing bubble was unsustainable and that the system was bound to fail. In his view, he wasn't creating the crisis, he was simply identifying and acting upon an obvious flaw in the system. His critic, however, pointed to the broader consequences of the collapse, including the devastation it wreaked on countless families, and questioned whether such massive profits could ever be justified. The involvement of major financial institutions also added fuel to the fire. Several of the banks that helped facilitate Paulson's CDS trades were later bailed out by the government, using taxpayer money to avert complete collapse. Critics argued that Paulson's success was, in part, tied to a system that allowed such reckless behavior to thrive, behavior that ultimately required a government intervention. While Paulson wasn't directly responsible for these bailouts, his position within this system raised uncomfortable questions about the relationship between Wall Street and Washington. Another layer of controversy surrounds Paulson's post-crisis career. Despite his historic success, his subsequent ventures were less spectacular. Paulson attempted to replicate his earlier triumph by making bold moves in other markets, including investments in gold and healthcare. Unfortunately, these bets didn't pay off in the same way, leading some to question whether his previous success was truly due to his genius or simply a matter of being in the right place at the right time. His critics argue that even the best strategists can be wrong, and Paulson's failures after 2008 showed that the market is an unpredictable beast. No matter how sharp your analysis, Paulson also faced criticism over transparency. He was known for operating behind the scenes, executing his trades without drawing much attention to his methods until the profits were secured. This raised concerns about the fairness of his approach, with some arguing that his success was a result of operating in a system that allowed sophisticated investors to exploit the ignorance of others. As the world witnessed the aftermath of the crisis, many began to question the ethics of a financial system that allowed players like Paulson to thrive while millions of others suffered. Despite the criticism, Paulson maintained that his actions were rooted in solid analysis and a desire to protect his investors. He believed that his success was a result of seeing what others refused to see and acting on. His critics, however, argue that the broader consequences of his strategy, namely the widespread financial ruin caused by the collapse, cannot be overlooked. His role in the 2008 crisis remains a point of debate, with some viewing him as a visionary and others as a profiteer of misfortune. The controversies surrounding Paulson serve as a reminder that in the world of finance, success is often viewed through a complex lens. What may seem like a brilliant move to one group may appear as an exploitation of others' suffering to another. As we continue to examine Paulson's legacy, we must grapple with the question of how to balance success with responsibility, and whether the financial system can ever be truly fair to all. John Paulson's monumental bet against the housing market wasn't just a personal victory, it was a seismic event that reshaped the financial world. By successfully predicting and profiting from the collapse of the subprime mortgage market, Paulson exposed vulnerabilities in a system that many believed was impenetrable. His actions served as both a warning and a wake-up call, forcing Wall Street regulators and the broader public to confront the fragility of the global financial system. One of the most immediate impacts of Paulson's success was the scrutiny it brought to mortgage-backed securities and the practices surrounding them. Instruments, once heralded as innovative solutions to diversify risk, were revealed to be dangerously flawed. The financial crisis that followed Paulson's bet forced banks, investors, and regulators to reassess the very foundation of modern finance. it became clear that blind trust in complex financial products could lead to catastrophic consequences. Paulson's actions also highlighted the power and influence of hedge funds. His ability to amass billions during a period of widespread economic devastation demonstrated how skilled investors could navigate even the most turbulent market. However, it also raised ethical and systemic questions. How should such power be regulated? And what responsibility do hedge fund managers have when their gains come at the expense of broader societal losses? These debates continue to shape conversations about financial oversight today. The regulatory response to the crisis was deeply influenced by Paulson's bet and its aftermath. Governments worldwide implemented sweeping reforms to increase transparency and accountability in the financial sector. In the United States, laws like the Dodd-Frank Act aimed to prevent another systemic failure by introducing stricter oversight of financial institutions and products. While these measures were seen as necessary, they also sparked debates about how to balance innovation with regulation, tension that Paulson's story encapsulates perfectly. Beyond the technical changes, Paulson's success reshaped the public perception of Wall Street. He became a symbol of both the brilliance and the ruthlessness of high finance. To some, he was a visionary who used his intelligence and determination to expose flaws in the system. To others, he embodied the cold, calculating nature of capitalism, profiting while millions lost their homes and savings. This dual image continues to spark conversations about the role of ethics in finance. Another lasting impact of Paulson's bet is the inspiration it provided to a new generation of investors. His story has been studied in business, dissected in books, and adapted into media, becoming a case study in contrarian thinking and rigorous analysis. Paulson's approach, his willingness to challenge popular narratives and act decisively, offer valuable lessons for those looking to navigate complex systems. His legacy is not just about the billions he earned, but about the mindset that enabled his success. Finally, Paulson's actions underscored the cyclical nature of financial markets and the dangers of collective overconfidence. The housing bubble was not the first financial crisis, nor will it be the last. Paulson's bet serves as a reminder that markets are built on human behavior, which is often driven by emotion rather than logic. His ability to foresee the inevitable collapse and act accordingly underscores the importance of skepticism, preparation, and adaptability in the face of uncertainty. The impact of Paulson's bet reverberates far beyond the world of finance. It forces us to consider deeper questions about the systems we rely on and the people who navigate. But while his success left an indelible mark on history, it also set the stage for new challenges and opportunities in the ever-evolving financial landscape. John Paulson's story is more than just an account of extraordinary financial success. It's a roadmap filled with invaluable lessons for anyone navigating the unpredictable waters of investing. His journey illustrates the power of deep analysis, independent thinking, and disciplined execution. While not everyone can replicate his billion-dollar bet, the principles behind his success can be applied to personal and professional decision-making in powerful ways. One of the most fundamental lessons from Paulson's trajectory is the importance of questioning popular narrative. During the housing bubble, the prevailing belief was that home prices would never fall. Instead of accepting this at face value, Paulson conducted his own analysis and uncovered a different reality. For today's investor, this serves as a reminder to remain skeptical of trends that seem too good to be true. Markets often reward those who dare to challenge consensus thinking. Paulson's meticulous approach to research is another cornerstone of his success. His deep dive into mortgage-backed securities went beyond surface-level data, uncovering hidden risks that others ignored. This teaches us that successful investing requires more than intuition. It demands rigorous analysis. Whether it's evaluating a company's fundamentals, understanding market dynamics, or researching new opportunities, the devil is always in the detail. Another critical takeaway is Paulson's ability to balance patience with decisiveness. He spent years observing the housing market and preparing his strategy, waiting for the perfect moment to act. When the opportunity finally arose, he executed his plan with precision. This is a lesson in timing. Success often depends not just on identifying opportunities but on knowing when to seize them. Risk management is another key element of Paulson's strategy. His use of credit default swaps was a calculated gamble, designed to limit potential losses while maximizing gains. For modern investors, this underscores the importance of protecting your downside, diversifying your portfolio, setting stop-loss limits, and avoiding overexposure to any single asset are practical ways to emulate Paulson's approach to risk. Paulson's story also highlights the value of adaptability. The financial markets are in constant flux, and even the most carefully crafted plans can face unexpected challenges. Paulson's ability to pivot and adjust his strategy as new information emerged was a significant factor in his success. For investors, this means staying flexible and open to change, rather than rigidly adhering to preconceived notions. Another vital lesson is the role of emotional resilience in investing. Paulson faced intense criticism and skepticism before the 2008 crisis, with many dismissing his warnings as overly pessimistic. Yet, he remained steadfast, guided by his analysis and conviction. For anyone looking to succeed in the market, this serves as a reminder to trust your judgment and avoid being swayed by external noise. Finally, Paulson's journey emphasizes the importance of continuous learning. Even after his historic success, he remained committed to expanding his knowledge of the markets and refining his strategy. This thirst for knowledge is a powerful tool for anyone seeking long-term success. Reading books like The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham or A Random Walk Down Wall Street by Burton Malkiel can provide valuable insight, while staying informed about global trends ensures you're always prepared for the next opportunity. Paulson's principles offer a timeless blueprint for navigating financial markets. His success wasn't about luck, it was the result of careful planning, disciplined execution, and a willingness to think differently. The question is, how can you apply these lessons to your own financial journey? Every great success starts with a single decision. Are you ready to make yours? John Paulson's journey is more than a story of financial triumph. It's a blueprint for challenging convention, navigating uncertainty, and seizing extraordinary opportunity. His ability to question the status quo, prepare meticulously, and act decisively turned a crisis into a moment of historic success. But his story also raises timeless questions about the ethics of profiting during turmoil and the responsibility of those who understand the system's vulnerabilities. For Paulson, the answer lay in preparation and action, and his legacy serves as both an inspiration and a reminder of the complexities of modern finance. As you reflect on his story, consider this: the greatest opportunities often lie where others are too afraid or too comfortable to look. Are you ready to take your own bold steps into the unknown?